Let's be honest. Most men go through life blind, thinking they understand women, thinking they know what makes her tick. But the truth? Most of you are walking in a fog. You're missing signs she's testing you, missing the subtle cracks in her armor that reveal what she really feels, what she really wants, and what she's hiding even from herself. And that blindness? It costs you more than just heartbreak. It costs your confidence, your sanity, and your chances at real connection. Here's the thing, every woman has weaknesses. Not flaws, not imperfections, but predictable patterns that are wired deep into her psychology. And these patterns aren't evil, they're natural, biological, emotional. But if you don't understand them, you get trapped in games, manipulation, and moments where she silently controls the power in your connection. Think about it. How many times have you felt confused by her sudden withdrawal, her cryptic messages, her mysterious moods? That's the gap between what she wants and what you can perceive. Closing that gap is the difference between a relationship that drains you and one that elevates you. I want you to pay attention because I'm about to reveal truths that most men never hear, truths that many women will never say out loud, even to themselves. This is about the power she holds and how, if you're not aware, she will unconsciously use it. But awareness gives you control. Awareness gives you clarity. Awareness gives you the edge that every man deserves. Her first weakness? Validation. Women crave it. And I don't just mean compliments on looks. I mean recognition of her mind, her choices, her struggles, the subtle acknowledgement that she's seen in the world. But here's the trap. She will test you, push boundaries, and even create conflict just to see if you'll step up and validate her without losing yourself in the process. And here's where most men fail. They either overcompensate, become clingy, or give the wrong kind of validation, which makes her withdraw even further. A strong man doesn't feed insecurity. He sees it, understands it, and navigates it with calm authority. And here's something crucial. Her emotional intensity is both a weapon and a weakness. Women process feelings faster and more intensely than men. That's why a small slight, a misunderstood word, or even your silence can feel like a betrayal. But she also craves stability, consistency, and a sense that you can weather her storms without breaking. If you can stay anchored while she sways emotionally, you unlock something most men never get to experience, a deep, unspoken trust that makes her gravitate toward you again and again. Finally, remember this. Women's weaknesses aren't just emotional. They're cognitive, social, and even instinctual. Her desire for security, admiration, and excitement is wired in. When you understand these drives, you don't manipulate, you align. You become the man she wants without losing the man you are. That's power, that's influence, and that's the first secret every man must recognize. By now, I want you to pause and think, how many of these dynamics have you already felt but ignored? How often have you misread her signals because you weren't aware of the patterns beneath her smiles and her silence? Understanding this is the first step toward mastery, not control, mastery. And when you grasp it, you'll see women differently, and they'll respond differently to you. The second weakness most men completely overlook is her fear of rejection and abandonment. Women are often socialized to hide this, to mask it behind confidence, charm, or even indifference. But underneath it, it's there, shaping how she communicates, how she tests you, and how she decides who gets her trust. And here's the truth most men miss. She doesn't always consciously know it herself. Her actions can feel confusing, contradictory, or even frustrating. But when you understand the driving fear behind them, everything suddenly makes sense. Think about the way she sometimes pulls away just when things are going well, or how she suddenly questions your commitment. That's not a reflection of you being insufficient. It's a reflection of her inner wiring. She's assessing whether you can be counted on when her walls are down, when she's vulnerable. And most men react poorly. They panic, they overcompensate, they chase. What she actually wants is calm assurance, consistency, and the ability to handle her intensity without losing your composure. This is where men either rise to mastery or fall into the trap of anxiety and doubt. Her vulnerability isn't weakness, it's power, but if you misread it, it can feel like chaos. Here's what the strongest men understand. Women need a safe container for their fears, not a fixer, not a rescuer, and definitely not someone who mirrors her panic back. She needs a man who stays steady, who speaks truth with quiet confidence, and who signals, without drama, that she is safe to open up. That's when her walls come down, her energy flows, and her desire becomes focused. Now let's talk about another pattern most men overlook: her need for social validation. Women are deeply tuned to how they're perceived, not just by you, but by friends, family, and even strangers. This isn't vanity, it's evolutionary psychology. She seeks approval because it signals safety, belonging, and status. But here's the subtle part. She will often use social dynamics as a test. She might hint, joke, or tease to see how you respond. Most men either ignore it or take it personally. The sharp man notices, interprets, and acts with calm self-assuredness, giving her validation in a way that strengthens attraction without surrendering power. And here's a truth that shakes many men to their core. Women's emotional intelligence is often higher than yours. They pick up on nuance, on tone, on micro-expressions you don't even realize exist. That means when she signals something, even subtly, it's intentional, or at least deeply instinctual. Missing it repeatedly is like walking blindfolded into a storm, but when you start to see the patterns, to interpret the microsignals, you gain a psychological advantage, not through manipulation, but through understanding. Finally, her need for mystery is another overlooked weakness. Women are naturally drawn to the unknown, the unpredictable. When a man is fully open, fully predictable, he loses intrigue. The trick isn't to play games, it's to be authentic, but with depth, with layers she has to discover over time. When you balance transparency with enigma, stability with unpredictability, you tap into a deep, primal attraction she can't resist. Pause for a moment and reflect. How often have you misread these signs as disinterest or drama? Understanding her fear of rejection and her subtle social needs is the difference between frustration and magnetic connection. The third weakness every man must understand is her need for emotional intensity. Women thrive on feelings. They process them faster, remember them longer, and let them guide decisions in ways men often can't comprehend. And here's the kicker. This emotional intensity is both her greatest strength and her most exploitable weakness. If you can handle it, channel it, and respond appropriately, it becomes magnetic. If you can't, it becomes chaos. Most men get trapped in this trap unknowingly, thinking drama is a reflection of their failure, when in reality, it's an invitation to step up. Consider the way she reacts to your words, your presence, even your absence. A fleeting comment, a slight change in tone, or even a look can ignite a storm or a spark. Most men panic. They try to rationalize, justify, or even argue, hoping to fix her emotions. But strong men understand she doesn't need fixing. She needs recognition, respect, and containment. A man who can anchor her emotional storms without absorbing them becomes rare, irresistible, and profoundly influential. Her emotional intensity also creates her craving for authenticity. She senses inauthenticity instantly. A man who fakes interest, fakes calm, or fakes confidence is immediately detected. Her radar for subtle cues is astonishingly sharp. She notices the half smile, the micro gesture, the hesitation. But here's the truth. When you are genuinely grounded, emotionally present, and confident, she doesn't just respond positively, she unconsciously amplifies her attraction. Emotional intensity isn't just her need, it's your opportunity. Another layer of this weakness is her deep desire for novelty and stimulation. Routine and predictability can feel suffocating for her, even if everything else in the relationship is perfect. She's not looking for chaos. She's looking for life, excitement, and connection that awakens her senses. That's why experiences, playful teasing, intellectual challenges, and even slight unpredictability are essential. A man who blends stability with excitement creates a paradox she can't resist. He is both a safe harbor and an adventure. And let's be brutally honest, emotional intensity is often intertwined with her testing behaviors. She might challenge your beliefs, provoke reactions, or withdraw suddenly, all under the guise of normal conversation. Most men interpret this as rejection, criticism, or lack of interest. The masterful man interprets it as a signal, a chance to demonstrate his resilience, confidence, and capacity to handle her depth without faltering. Every test she gives is a window into her psyche, a chance to rise above the average man, and to stand out as someone uniquely capable. Finally, understand this: emotional intensity is a gateway to influence, attraction, and connection. Women unconsciously measure men not by their words alone, but by how they navigate the storm of feelings. Calm, steady, emotionally intelligent men are magnets because they offer what she craves, a safe container for her inner fire. And make no mistake, mastering this skill doesn't diminish your masculinity, it amplifies it. It creates a magnetic pull she can't explain, one that goes beyond superficial attraction and enters the realm of deep psychological resonance. Pause and reflect. How often have you misunderstood her emotional intensity as irrationality or drama? Recognizing it for what it is, both a weakness and an opportunity, is the key to shifting every interaction from frustration to magnetic connection. The fourth weakness every man must understand is her craving for security combined with her fear of vulnerability. Women are biologically and emotionally wired to seek stability, yet paradoxically, they instinctively protect themselves from being exposed too deeply. This creates a tension in every relationship. She wants closeness, but she simultaneously tests whether you are safe enough to handle it. Most men see this push-pull as confusion or indecision, but it's actually one of the clearest signals of her needs and weaknesses. Notice how she often asks subtle, indirect questions about your future, your habits, your intentions. These aren't idle curiosities. They're tests of whether she can rely on you emotionally, financially, and psychologically. Men who dismiss these signs, or worse, react defensively, fail without realizing why. The strongest men read between the lines, recognizing that every inquiry, every hesitancy, every silent glance is an opportunity to demonstrate trustworthiness, strength, and stability. Her fear of vulnerability also explains a lot of behaviors that men misinterpret as inconsistency. She might flirt, withdraw, or tease in ways that seem contradictory. She does this because revealing herself fully is risky. It's exposing her core, her insecurities, and her deepest desires. A man who reacts with calm assurance and empathy doesn't just gain her respect, he gains her trust. And trust, once earned, is the single most powerful magnet in a woman's psyche. Another aspect of this weakness is her need for emotional and social alignment. Women naturally scan for alignment. Values, priorities, lifestyle choices, even social circles. Misalignment triggers anxiety, while alignment sparks attraction. Many men underestimate how deeply she feels this. They assume surface-level charm or looks will suffice. The truth is, her brain constantly calculates whether you fit her world and her vision of security. Understanding this gives you the ability to lead subtly, influence her decisions, and become someone she instinctively feels safe to invest in. Her desire for security also amplifies her responsiveness to confidence and consistency. Small gestures, showing up on time, keeping promises, maintaining calm under pressure, signal that you are dependable. But here's where most men fail. They overcompensate, over-explain, or seek approval, which ironically signals instability. True power lies in quiet, unwavering consistency that requires no justification. Your actions speak louder than your words, and she notices everything, often subconsciously. Finally, understand this. Her fear of vulnerability doesn't vanish with time. It evolves, deepens, and resurfaces in different ways. Men who think they've figured her out quickly discover that awareness must be ongoing. Every conversation, every gesture, every moment of intimacy is an opportunity to reinforce safety and build magnetic attraction. When you master this, you aren't just appealing to her desire, you're shaping the psychological foundation of loyalty, desire, and deep connection that most men never achieve. Pause and reflect. How often have you misread her need for security as possessiveness or hesitation? Recognizing it as a fundamental psychological driver, her weakness, is the key to transforming every interaction from tension into trust, from confusion into desire. The fifth weakness every man must understand is her craving for admiration and respect, subtle, quiet, but absolutely essential. Women don't just want to be noticed for their looks, they want to be recognized for their intelligence, their intuition, their efforts, and even the struggles she overcomes quietly. And here's the truth most men miss. If she doesn't feel admired on multiple levels, attraction fades, intimacy suffers, and connection deteriorates, often without her ever saying a word. Admiration is different from flattery. Flattery is superficial, cheap, and obvious. Admiration is earned, observed, and felt deeply. It's in the way you acknowledge her strength when she solves a problem effortlessly, the way you respect her boundaries, and the way you honor her presence without controlling it. Most men unknowingly trigger her defenses by offering empty compliments or by competing for attention. The sharp man knows that recognition, not validation, fuels her desire. It's the unspoken acknowledgement that she is seen, understood, and appreciated on her own terms. Another layer of this weakness lies in her unconscious tests of status and competence. She observes how you handle challenges, how others respond to you, and even how you conduct yourself when nobody is watching. These subtle observations feed her evaluation of whether you are a man worthy of her time, loyalty, and affection. Reacting with insecurity or over-explaining your worth only diminishes attraction. Reacting with calm authority, integrity, and quiet confidence communicates the qualities she unconsciously seeks, and these qualities trigger desire on a deep psychological level. Her craving for admiration also intertwines with her sense of identity and social awareness. Women are highly sensitive to how they are perceived in their social environment. If she senses that you recognize and respect her social intelligence, taste, or insight, it creates a magnetic pull that's impossible to ignore. But most men underestimate this. They focus only on themselves, their needs, and what they think attraction should look like. The man who observes, appreciates, and acknowledges without neediness or pressure becomes rare, unforgettable, and psychologically compelling. And here's another truth. Her need for admiration doesn't diminish with time, it evolves. She constantly measures how her partner reacts to her growth, her challenges, and even her triumphs. If you fail to respond with quiet, grounded acknowledgement, she begins to drift, often subtly, seeking that recognition elsewhere. But a man who masters this art isn't controlling, isn't manipulative. He simply aligns his awareness with her psychological wiring, creating desire, respect, and loyalty simultaneously. Finally, remember this. Admiration and respect are more than gestures. They're strategic signals that tap into her deepest emotional wiring. Women crave partners who see them fully and respond with calm authority, appreciation, and consistency. Understanding this weakness is transformative. It turns everyday interactions into subtle opportunities to strengthen attraction, reinforce trust, and create a magnetic bond that most men never achieve. Pause and reflect. How often have you assumed compliments or attention were enough, missing the deeper need for genuine acknowledgement? Recognizing her craving for admiration as a psychological driver, not a superficial desire, is the secret to stepping into a higher level of attraction and influence. The sixth weakness every man must understand is her desire for emotional leadership. Women, whether consciously or unconsciously, are drawn to men who can guide, anchor, and navigate life with calm authority. This isn't about control or dominance, it's about stability, vision, and emotional intelligence. Most men underestimate this. They think being nice or fun is enough, but without emotional leadership, her respect wanes, her desire cools, and her loyalty becomes conditional. Think about the moments she seeks your input, your calm in a storm, or your reaction when challenges arise. These are not tests in the way most men fear. They are invitations. They reveal how she perceives your strength, your judgment, and your capacity to handle her inner world without faltering. Hesitate, panic, or second-guess yourself, and you trigger insecurity. Stand firm, respond with clarity, and she feels safe, seen, and magnetically drawn to you. Emotional leadership transforms attraction from fleeting to enduring. Her craving for emotional leadership also intersects with her need for decisiveness. She unconsciously measures how you navigate uncertainty, how you make choices when outcomes aren't guaranteed, how you handle risk, and how you manage your own emotions under pressure. Most men overcomplicate, overanalyze, or seek approval before acting. Strong men act with informed confidence, even if imperfectly, because this signals competence, reliability, and the kind of masculine presence she unconsciously associates with security and desire. Another subtle but powerful aspect of this weakness is her attraction to calm under fire. Women's emotional intensity, curiosity, and social sensitivity can sometimes feel like chaos. But when a man remains grounded, thoughtful, and assertive without aggression, he becomes magnetic. She feels a sense of relief, excitement, and connection all at once, a rare emotional combination most men never achieve. Emotional leadership isn't about suppressing her feelings. It's about containing your own, creating a safe channel for hers, and guiding both of you toward deeper connection. Her need for this type of leadership also influences loyalty. A woman unconsciously evaluates whether you can be her anchor in uncertainty, her protector in subtle ways, and her partner who maintains composure when life feels unstable. Fail here and trust erodes. Master it, and desire, respect, and commitment deepen naturally. Most men chase attraction with effort, charm, or manipulation, but the man who embodies emotional leadership attracts it effortlessly, without chasing or performing. Finally, here's the truth every man must internalize. Women's weaknesses are not vulnerabilities to exploit. They are invitations to step into higher masculinity, deeper connection, and psychological influence. Recognizing and responding to these patterns, validation, fear of rejection, emotional intensity, security, admiration, and emotional leadership gives you clarity, confidence, and attraction that feels magnetic rather than forced. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to demonstrate mastery, empathy, and presence in a way most men never learn. Now here's something I want you to do. Calculate this personal equation in your mind. 1 part understanding her psychology, plus 1 part self-mastery, minus the mistakes you've made in the past. What number does that equal in your life? Drop your answer in the comments, and if this video resonated, like it, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this truth.